and sit down.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jake.
Yay! Jake is still in his frigid basement. So
hopefully it'll get fixed in the next month or so.
Okay. Just so you can ride out the rest of the Boston winter.
Apparently.
Or does Boston winter go until May?
It depends. I mean, it's New England, so theoretically it could be over in February, but more likely it'll be over in March or April or
Okay. Radio. So not too bad. You don't have too long to wait.
Yeah.
Just spend a lot of time at the store. How about you do that instead?
Or just upstairs. Upstairs is great.
Upstairs will be fine. All good. Excellent. So in the chat, saying hi to Chris Gorka, Josh, Sean, hello. Ahoy.
Ahoy.
And welcome to our episode 2 of season 2. Hooray! We made it.
We did it.
Is everything sounding all right with our mics, our voices? Is Jake looking choppy?
Yeah, I mean, Dave and I can hear each other, but I don't know if that's...
If that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, I think it's a good thing, but...
It's a thing, sure.
It is legit.
So yeah, definitely let us know how our audio is sounding. Is it good? Is it the same as always? But yes, as I was just saying, just before we says everything sounds and looks good. I find it hard to believe that I look good, but anyway, moving right along. Nice,
Dave, you look great.
I felt terrible. I was a little bit worried, but on this sort of burgundy shirt earlier, I spilt some Raglan Flesh Shade. But thankfully,
I couldn't tell you where.
Yep, it's there. But Scott has joined us. Hi, Scott.
What's up, Scott?
You. Welcome. Before we go sort of too much into anything, I just wanted to show you something funny that a friend of mine in Australia found. So just bringing this up. So a buddy of mine, Ramon, posted this photo in a group. This is a letter that he received. His mum gave it to him. She'd been hoarding it. He received in November of 1996, letting him know that there was a Games Workshop store would be opening in Victoria, so quite close to him, and that Dave and the team would be ready to welcome him into the store.
Were you ready to welcome him into the store?
We were, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He went on to work for Games Workshop after a couple more stores opened in Victoria. But yeah, that was the first Melbourne store in 1996. I was the store opening manager.
That's so funny.
Lived in Melbourne for about 8 weeks, I think. 6 or 8 weeks. Where we found the staff, trained them up, opened the store, ran it for about a month, and then handed it over to the new manager.
Dude, that's
absolutely
nuts.
Crazy.
Yep.
Just a fun little aside there. I feel very old.
I think at that point I was still in college.
Yeah. Yep. I'm glad you didn't say something like I was 5.
No. I was in college.
So I think, what was I? I was 23 then. In that note, it said that check for details in White Dwarf 204.
Yeah.
And what are they up to now? 400 and
484 just came out today.
484, so nearly 300 issues ago.
Yeah, the new one has a Chaos Space Marine on the cover. It's blue,
Right.
and it's all about the new boarding actions stuff.
Okay. Cool.
Well, I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff too, but that's like the feature thing is the boarding actions.
Right. Nice. That's good.
That's
yeah,
bananas.
I had to throw that in there. It was just too good not to look at. Too good. But anyway, how have things been going with your Iron Warriors force?
They were going okay. I'm trying to order more of the I got to order more Stakarans because I got to build 2 more Stakarans.
Okay.
And we only had one on the shelf, and I was like, I don't want to buy it and then not have any. So I was like, we'll order some more first.
Okay.
But it's fine. I got to build. I'm almost done building a support predator.
Right.
But I didn't think the guns looked big enough on it.
Okay.
So I managed to get a friend of mine has a bunch of guard stuff.
Yeah.
So he gave me 2 of the Lehman Russ plasma, like the plasma blast gun.
Okay.
Or whatever the variant is that's on a predator, but it's 2 of those. And then I got I had the Melta Lance arm from the Imperial Knight,
Okay.
and I'm going to use those 3 pieces to put them on the predator. So one will have a Melta, the Magna Melta,
Okay.
and then the other 2 will have plasma annihilators.
Right.
Because
Okay.
like the ones that come in the support box, they're tiny. They're like these teeny little like. And I was like, no, this needs to look super dangerous.
Much bigger.
Yeah,
Like it could melt the tank if it. If
100%.
you rolled a 1.
Yep. Yeah. I do think it's kind of cool the rules for them. I think that's the only plasma gun in the game, at least that I found, that doesn't have gets hot.
Okay.
Like the turret mounted plasma annihilator or plasma exterminator doesn't have gets hot.
Okay. Wild.
And I was like, that's awesome.
I'm like, I'm always looking for ways to avoid.
Remember, you got to go to the back to the weapon loadout section.
Yeah. The Execution of Plasma Destroyer.
Yep, that's the one.
Wow. Branding 4+, large blast, 60-inch range.
Yeah.
It does not have gets hot. You were correct. I wonder if that's a typo.
I mean, so originally I thought maybe that there was like, if it has the plasma keyword, does plasma automatically carry get hot? But all the other plasma guns in there say they have get hot.
Yeah, and then there are 2 that have multiple settings, and so the low setting doesn't have gets hot. But
right. But I was like, okay, I guess it doesn't. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I was like, it'd be really weird if like Space Marines built a tank that purposely had a specific purpose gun that could blow the tank up. I feel like they wouldn't use it.
Right. Okay.
That doesn't seem particularly Space Marine like savvy, but
I don't know. They don't always do the right thing.
but this is during the heresy though, so
Yeah. Where they're a little
it's
bit better.
like yeah, this is the first example of them not doing the right thing.
Okay.
So remember,
That's
this is like technically during the Golden Age, so
That's true.
I assume they're just better at making, plasma weapons.
You'd want to hope that they were.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so I'm running a squadron of 2 predators with the plasma guns, and then 1 predator with the Magna Melta,
Okay.
and then those are my troops choices.
Yep.
And then I'm running 2 Sakarans as my elites choice, a Sakaran HQ, and then my heavy supports are a Sakaran Venator. That's the one with the centerline neutron destroyer.
Laser. Yep.
I love that thing. That thing's awesome. And then I've got a Derideo with the standard Anvilus autocannon, Iolos missile launcher loadout. That thing is just the best. And then a Talon of 2 Leviathans.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So it's 7 tanks, 3 dreadnoughts.
Right.
So it should be fun. Again, like a bunch of my friends have been saying how they keep not running into vehicles, and I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, there's not a lot of vehicle lists I've fought. And I was like, well, that's gonna be problematic. My list isn't. It's okay against infantry.
Right.
I mean, the Leviathans are gonna be good against everything,
Yep.
and so is the Derrideo. But like the rest of the stuff, it's not great against infantry. The two plasma predators will be good
Yep.
against infantry. But that's really it. Like,
Well, your advantage there is that they'll be tooled up for infantry if you surprise them with
yeah,
the old
maybe.
vehicle
Who
list.
knows?
Oh man, I just went and dropped all my melted bombs.
Yeah, it should be interesting. Like, I don't really. The cool thing is, if I fight against vehicles because I'm running as Iron Warriors, everything gets +1 strength,
Right.
which is great. It means that all of my autocannons are all strength 8.
Okay.
So they're essentially all missile launchers instead
Yeah.
of
That's true.
autocannons. And I think I've got. I mean, the 3 Sakarans alone will crank out 24 strength 8 shots,
Oh my goodness.
and they all have rending 5.
There you go. It's fine.
So it should be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, on averages that'll be 8 rending shots.
Yeah,
So
hopefully.
yeah.
So it should be fun. Like like Chris Kemming and Brian Martin and Dan Wood and all those guys. Like,
Right.
we're all bringing lists out to play at Adepticon. So
Right. Yep.
I've been up front. They all know what's in my list. Like,
Just because you've been saying I got 10 models in my list, and they're like, "Ow."
yeah. So Chris and I both wanted to do Armored Spearhead.
Right.
So he's doing the Imperial Fists Armored Spearhead,
Okay.
which means that like the basic Predator is the like Chef's Kiss perfect Imperial Fist vehicle because it's armed with autocannons and heavy bolters.
Right.
Which means that if you're shooting an autocannon or heavy bolter, it's +1 to hit.
Right. Yeah.
So a regular Predator gets all of its shots at 2+ instead of 3+.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So mine hit a little harder. His get more shots.
Okay.
Or his should hit
will,
more.
Will hit more. Yeah, they'll hit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'd rather have the hitting harder.
Yeah, that was my
would be
kind
my-
of 2 cents, but
My vote.
we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what's gonna happen. So
Excellent.
I have no idea what Dan is bringing. I'm sure that Dan has some absolute like crazy list
Yep.
that's gonna be super gross. I think Brian's doing something pretty down the middle. I think he's doing a kind of a mixed like combined arms kind of army. So
Okay. But yeah. Just quickly, Super Dan Osborne is in the chat. Hey, Super Dan.
nice.
And Josh says, yeah, well, that will negate all kinds of hammer saves, double strength and rending. There you go. You'll be popping,
Yeah, that's true.
popping
It'd be
Terminators
instant
with that.
kill. Yeah, it'd be instant death. So
Yep. Unless
oh
they-
no, it wouldn't be instant death. They only get the +1 strength if it's something that has the vehicle,
Oh, okay, ready.
fortification, or something keyword.
Probably Dreadnought or Automata.
Yeah, automata keyword.
Yeah.
If I'm shooting anything that's infantry that doesn't have those keywords, I don't get it.
Oh, okay, ready. Yep.
But still,
You
it's still
get,
rending.
You still get the rend,
So
which is nice.
yeah.
So you're just wounding on 3s instead of...
right,
You
that's
still
what
be
the 2
wounding on
Leviathans are there for.
No, you'll
with
be
their
wounding on
murder
2s. You'll still be wounding infantry on 2s.
Yeah, that's true.
So, just not instant
And the
death.
neutron gun, the neutron beam is good against anything.
Sure.
Like you get to reroll because it has the ordnance keyword. You get to reroll wounds with it, which is insane.
Right.
So unless somebody runs like an all infantry list,
Yeah.
I should be okay. An all infantry list, I don't think I can kill enough of them to win the game. I don't have enough firepower to do that.
Right. Yeah.
But
You just have to drive them down.
yeah, or unless I like just get my dreadnoughts into close combat and then watch the Leviathans just
Oh, yeah, you just power through. Yep.
yeah. But
That'd be the way to go. Chop them up.
they're slow. The Leviathans are slow though.
But they are beautiful models. Beautiful.
Oh, I love them. That's probably my favorite kit.
Yeah.
I love that thing.
They're gorgeous.
It's the same size. Some kid was like up in arms with me arguing about how well the new Leviathan that's plastic is going to be bigger. I was like, it's not. It's going to be exactly the same size. And they're like, no, it's going to be bigger. I was like, GW is not retooling the mold. They're just going to move it over to the plastic factory. It's the same size. They're like, no. It's going to be way bigger. It's the same size.
Yep.
Like they included those little ridge things
Yep.
that you have on, like the little shoulder ridges.
Yep.
But like it's the same exact dimensions.
These bits.
Yeah. I like it. I think that is like it's probably my favorite model that GW makes.
I think you get didn't they have those on some of the there's some Legion specific Leviathan bodies that might have.
There's Legion specific Contemptors, and then they have made a couple of Legion specific Leviathans. There's a Legion specific. I think there's a Leviathan for the Blood Angels.
Right.
I think there's one for the Iron Hands. I think.
Right.
I'd have to jump on GW's website. I don't remember. I know there's a Blood Angels one.
Right.
But I think there's like 3 or 4 that are like Legion specific.
Okay. Cool. So that's where you're at with your forces for Adepticon.
Yep.
Excellent. Yep. Excellent. Scott says he's banging around on some Marvel United stuff until I go to next week to LVO and the Germans teach me to paint real good. Look out, world. Till then, Big Head Namor will have to do. Fantastic. So yeah, Scott, who are you taking classes with? Are you taking class with? Is Ben Comets going? Matt Sexwish? Checkswish?
Sexwish?
I always want to say Sexwish. It's, but I don't know. But yeah, let us know which Germans are teaching at LVO. Yep, there we go. Matt Checkswish. Sexwish. Is it a hard C or a soft C?
Sexwish.
There we go. But no, fantastic. That'll be great. You'll really enjoy Matt's classes there, Scott. Very cool. Enjoy that. I'm looking forward to seeing your painting level up. Because as we know, it's terrible right now. Terrible.
Yeah, poor Scott.
Actually, it's super good. We have one of Scott's pieces later on in the show. Surprise.
Yeah, I saw the he painted he just painted Havoc.
Is that Havoc?
From Marvel United.
Yep.
And like those minis are great. They're all like the super deformed, like chibi looking Marvel heroes. Yep. They're really good models. They did a good job with them.
Yep. Cool. Scott says Ben Comets will be there. I'll try and ply him with beer to learn some secrets. Andy Water will be there. Going to try and beer him up too. Very cool. Look forward to stories you can tell us.
I'm jumping on Forge right now to see which ones have.
Oh, which ones have Legion specific? Chris Gorka says that the Night Lords definitely have a Legion specific.
No, I know there's a Night Lords one.
Or is that because it has like corpses strapped to it?
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, I suspect. Additional ablative armor for it. It was very nice. But no, that's cool. I have been working on. I'm at a wonderful overlap period in my painting projects. Where I have things that I'm still finishing off. Like I've got 5 more. What's the name? Tactical Marines to paint up for my word bearers.
Right on.
So I just finished 5 other dudes.
They look good.
Then I'll have the bases to go with them.
I do like them with the black beak.
Yeah. It's amazing how sort of much different it makes them look. I think it brings.
So it looks like there's 4. Sorry.
4. Okay, sorry. Yeah, okay. Which
so
ones?
There's the regular one.
Okay.
And then there's White Scars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Night Lords. Yeah, the Night Lords one has like a dude like nailed to it.
Yep.
And it has like the bat wings on the front, and it has like chains hanging off of it. Yep. The Dark Angels one just looks really like knightly.
Okay.
Like its armor plates look very like, suit of armor looking. The Blood Angels one is covered in like like sort of decorative, like it has a gold edge around everything.
Yep.
And then it has like what looks like, on the knee, there's like the sculpted blood drops and
Yep.
little wings and seraphs and stuff. And then the White Scars one is pretty cool looking. It has like Paturges
Right.
hanging between its legs. Like it has like a little. It looks like a tribal shield,
Right. Yep.
like nailed on as like it almost looks like a big belt buckle.
Okay.
And it has all these like Paturges hanging off it.
Excellent.
And it has like sculpted lightning bolts and stuff. But yeah, it's just the 4. I thought there was more. I guess it's just the 4.
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of contemptors, but
Yeah. Yep. Loads of great contemptors. But that's cool. But yeah, so doing that, I got those guys are going to finish painting. I'm just almost finished the conversion work.
Nice. Hold him a little closer. I want to see his head.
Oh, okay.
Oh no!
What I've done. The wings came off.
He looks like a Skaven. I like it.
Well, I think the jaws there are from the Demon Prince kit. I think it's from the probably the corn head.
okay.
And then just bulked out the helmet around it.
I like it.
Following the standard marine helmet lines. The Forge World Argoltal has these ridges on his sort of the plates that come down over his belly.
Okay.
And his legs are kind of the bottom armor plates on his legs are kind of like that. So
That's awesome.
and then the on his backpack.
Oh, you don't have it glued?
No, not at the moment. I just got it separate for painting.
Right on. Yeah, that's a great kit.
Yeah.
Over the weekend we had a flea market at the store,
Okay.
and one of the guys had the old. I don't even think they still make them. The Nurgle Demon Prince.
Oh yeah.
He has the one giant eye and the one little eye, and
Yep.
I think that's one of the best Demon Prince models they've ever made. That model is so cool.
Yeah. It's good. This kit's pretty good though.
Yeah, no, that kit, I love that kit. That kit is, I think that's the best one that they've made. That gives you that like, I feel like Games Workshop can't make up their mind whether or not they want to like be really, allowing to like your vision and put out a kit like that where it's like you can give him wings or not give him wings. You can give him this armor or give him this armor, give him a sword, or give him an axe. Like,
Right.
I like when you have options, but then they also do all the kits where it's like here it's essentially a monopose kit, and I'm like.
It's very specific. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, why? Why? Like, give me more options.
The funny thing is with this kit, with the Demon Prince kit, there are two. I think there might be actually three, sort of neck pieces that have the collarbone and the neck up to the basically just under the head.
Right.
And like one of them's looking this way, one's this way, and one's this way.
Okay.
Kind of thing. But the instructions that I was working from the Slaves of Darkness
Okay.
army box. So in there, it's just showing you how to make that one build of the Age of Sigmar.
Oh, right.
The
This is
axe-based.
right because this is a dual system kit, right? You can make
you
it
can
Age
use,
of Sigmar
use it for
okay.
either, yeah. But it didn't provide any options in the instructions, like to say, hey, use this arm or this thing to get a slightly different pose.
They're like, hey, don't use the gun if you're playing. Age of
Oh no,
Sigmar.
it didn't show the gun at all. It didn't show those arm pieces. It was very specifically this neck, this head, this arm, this left arm, this right arm. It was yeah.
Yeah. So far,
Super
I haven't
specific.
seen two that look the same. Because like Ray at our store built one, and Chris just jumped on.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Chris? I was just talking about getting a game in with you in a Adepticon. But so like Ray built one, and he's got like it's the head that looks almost like he's smiling. He has like all of his teeth out.
Okay, right.
He has that guy, and then he gave him like the axe over his head.
Yeah.
And I think isn't there like an arm that's like pointing? Oh no, it's he has a sword in his hand. So he has an axe and a sword.
Okay.
And then is yours. And then Ben did his like really like nurgly.
Right. Okay.
So he doesn't have the wings. He's got like I don't know. I think he borrowed pieces off. Like the Spawn and off some of the who are the Blight Kings that are riding the flies?
Oh, yeah.
Are they Pusgoyle Blight Lords, I think?
Probably. Yep.
So I think he had like extra bits because they give you all the different heads and stuff.
Right.
So he took that. So his backpack has all these like tubes and like weird like bubbles and stuff.
Yep.
And he has like he did not the smiling head. He did like the head that's more like frowning, and he like green stuffed like a little bit of a hood, like a half hood on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's a great kit. I just think
Yep.
there's so much cool stuff you can do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And he's big. I like that he's big too.
Yeah, absolutely huge. I mean, Argyltal's supposed to be on a 40 mil, but
How big is he?
This base is a 60.
Is that what the Demon Prince comes on?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
He comes on a 60, but
Yeah, it's a great kit.
yeah, it's definitely cool. It's a lot of fun. Nice.
I was giving Ray a hard time. I was talking about his wings have all like the piercings and stuff,
Yep.
and I was like, I get it. You're mad at your dad, like that. Like the Demon Prince are all like they're all mad at. They're like, I'm gonna go and get a bunch of piercings, and
Yeah. Oh, it's just
it just cracks me up.
it's a bit of Bellacore chic.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Bellacore does it, Dad.
Yeah.
That's a great kit, though.
Definitely all good. So I got him on the go. I've got those 5 there. I actually had 5 more Tartarus Terminators that I was going to paint up. I had them all prime in the red, but I've decided to do a little bit of extra work on them and turn them into Tartarus Terminators for my Raven Guard.
Oh, dude, I didn't know you were doing Raven Guard.
Well, for my Raven Guard, I'll talk about that a little bit later in the process.
Fine, all right.
The process of how to do these things. And then I'm also working on the High Carl as my last model for the moment until I can get some Sagittars. But
I'll let you know. We got them on back order as soon as they come in.
yeah,
I'll let you know.
but
Because I'm sure Jeff has them on back order too.
yeah. I've been bugging him every week. Hey, are they come in? Are they come in? Are they come in? But no, super popular they are.
No, hey, I have a question for you. You might know this better than I, as both of us being XGW because you were at HQ.
Yep.
Is there any rhyme or reason when it comes to making some kits multi-kits instead of not? And I'll give you an example. So
Sure.
up until literally this coming week it all comes, or next week it all comes out. But up until recently, there were 2 flavors of Lehman Russ.
Sure.
There was the Lehman Russ Battle Tank,
Yep.
which you could make the regular Lehman Russ, you could make the Vanquisher, you could make the Punisher, and something else. I forget all the variants. And then there's the Lehman Russ Demolisher,
Yep.
which was the same kit with a different sprue in there.
Yep.
So you could make
Demolisher,
Demolisher,
Plasma Annihilator.
the Destroyer or whatever.
Yep.
So between the 2, you can make all 7.
Yep.
So they have now gotten rid of that, and as part of the new reboxing, it's all going to be in one box. It's just the Lehman Russ tank.
Yep.
But then, like with the Predator for Horus Heresy, they just did the opposite. There's the Lehman Russ, or there's the Predator,
Sure.
which comes with like the autocannon, and you can upgrade it to like the beam gun and something else. And then there's the the Predator support tank,
Yep.
which has like the melta-gun and the plasma gun. And I was like, it seems weird to me that they would be like, hey, this makes more sense. Let's put this all in one box versus deliberately going, let's put this into 2 boxes. Like, it doesn't
Sure.
make any sense to me.
Sure. Well, think of it this way. This is purely the reason that it's done is when you have a new product or the opportunity to have multiple versions of a new product,
Sure.
sales-wise, you're going to be able to put more onto the shelves of a retail store, a stockist, trade partner, whatever they call them, wherever you are, because you can go, okay, well, so you want 3 of everything? You want 3 of this tank, and you want 3 of that tank.
Right. 6 tanks instead of 3.
6 tanks instead of 3. If you only have one product, people are going to go, oh, okay, well, I'll just get like 3 or 4 of them. You get 2 products, where you're like, okay, well, I'll get 3 of each.
I would 100% agree with that if most stores that stock GW didn't know what they were doing. Like, when the Predator came out,
Yep.
we talked to our entire community. We're like, hey, so GW put up on the community page, the new Predator's coming. Who wants one? And literally our inboxes got inundated. And then it was like, send me 36 Predators.
Sure.
Now, if they were just going to reprint the Predator,
Yep.
I would have ordered another 36. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't order more because it was a different variant. It was like, how many Predators do you want?
Yeah, it's not always going to... It's not going to work for every store.
Yeah.
But when you have... If it's going to work for several thousand stores around the world, that's the way they do it. At least that's what their thinking is, and that's definitely what the approach was in the past. And
they don't do it all the time because, like, look at remember when they put out the Dark Angels Deathwing Terminator box?
Right.
That was 3 boxes. It was the Deathwing Terminators.
Yep.
You could make I don't know any of the Dark Angel stuff. It's the dudes with the hoods
Regular
and like
Terminators, Knights, and Command Squad. Yep.
Yeah, you can make any of them, and it's all just one box. And I was like that seemed weird to me. I was like, oh, really? Like,
what wonderful, good job picking the exception.
or like the Ravenwing bikes. Like, there's the Command Squad bikes,
Yep.
and then you can also make bikers out of them. Yep. And then there's the Black Knights box.
Yep. Right. Generally, what you'll find is that if the product has been out in some version before, then you'll get a consolidation happening.
Okay. Again, it makes sense.
The Lehman Russ, basically, if it's new, if it's a new product, and sure, somebody's going to say Predators aren't new. No, they aren't. But the plastic Horus Heresy Predator is new. So the decision is made, let's put this out in 2 versions.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Like I said, it just seems like there's not a lot of consistency.
The TIE font, no. If you go ahead and have a look, the consistency is, if it's new, it'll be multiples. When the Baneblade was released, the Baneblade, then there was the Shadow Sword, then there might have been a couple of groupings, but at one point there were like 3 super heavy boxes.
I do love that that's all one box now.
Me too.
It's the best. Like, it's like, oh, you can make any Baneblade variant. Like, even the ones that I screw up the names.
Yep. I'm excited because I still have 2 boxes. You know, from the Apocalypse release back in 2007.
Yeah.
They did the 10 Lehman Russes in a box.
Yeah. Somebody was talking about the other day. Yeah, the tank company.
I have 2 of those.
Oh my god.
Okay, but obviously they've only got the guns for the battle cannon. So I can buy
really?
two, I can buy that's all you got back on that sprue.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because all the other ones were the metal like conversion kits.
Yeah.
Even the Demolisher gun was metal.
Metal. Yep. But so I can get the new one. I can get 2 of the new one and have
that's like 10. That's 10 other variants.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And I can just put those onto the Lehman Russes that I've got. So now I could have two Plasma Annihilators. I could have 2 of this, 2 of that.
Yeah, it's so good.
But
I used to love.
I won't do that just yet because I've got absolutely 0 plans to making a tank company.
You should do for your Tanith First and Only. You should do the. Was it the Vitrine Dragoons? You should do. Aren't they the armored company?
No, the Vitrine Dragoons aren't. They're
Oh right, they're the guys with the glass armor. The glass armor.
Yep.
Who's the tank unit that they're with all the time?
Or
not all the time. They're with them in like 3 books.
The Narmenians.
No, yeah, you can do the Narmenians. There you go.
Yeah, I've already started on the Narmenians. I got 2 Lehman Russes painted in Narmenian colors for them. But yeah, I could do that for sure. Just jumping back into the chat for a sec. Chris there. Yeah, as Chris says, I think it has to do with Horus Heresy being a
Line.
new game in their line.
Scott makes a really good point.
Yep. So as I visit about 1/8 know GW enough to know that army comp and what will be hot. The rest rely on customers to dictate what they want. I always thought it had more to do with keeping the price point down for the extra gun sprue they would need to combine the Predator kit. When
Yeah, it's not really. I don't think that's.
no, not really a thing. Well, that's the other thing I guess is there is a point for that where it's not necessarily keeping the price point down, but it's keeping their internal cost per unit down, because I'm not sure completely how they factor in the mold costs, but there comes a point where those molds are paid off and everything, then the profit for everything rises considerably, because those sprue costs drop to like 5 cents a sprue.
Yep.
So at that point, you can do the combination, but it's also about this. The strange one is when you're talking about like SKU bloat.
Yeah, I think that's a hard thing, right? Like, there's just
Yep.
the line. Like, my store's not getting bigger. Well, that's not necessarily true, but like my
most stores are not getting bigger.
Right, most stores are not getting, like, the average Warhammer store is not going to, like, the Warhammer store that's in Brookline, it's not going to get any bigger.
No.
But part of being the store and having run Warhammer stores in the past, like, we carry everything.
Yep.
And it's like, you can't be like, hey, so my store is chock full, and they're like, right, so we're going to add a whole new line of product called Votan. And I'm like, okay, what is it? They're like, it's going to be 12 boxes. Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
Hey, we're also adding Horus Heresy, which is a whole new game system with another, like, at right now, I think there's like 19 SKUs. And you're like, oh, okay. Yep. And they're like, oh, we're going to add Titanicus to your line. And you're like, guys, I'm running out of space. Like, I've had to cover the demo table with Titanicus. Like, what are we doing? So, like, yeah, at some point you got to, like, okay, how do we pare it all back down? But
well, nowadays in the store, like in a GW store or a Warhammer store, the manager doesn't get to pick what product they have on the shelf.
I get that.
Or place the orders. Things are just automatically drop shipped to them based on what they've sold, and it can be super frustrating as a customer. So that they just want you to use the in-store mail order.
I don't like that at all.
It's a system, but
yeah, I get it. It's a band-aid. They're doing what they can.
Very, very easily.
Oh, that happened all the time when Adam and I were running the one that was in Brookline. We were like, hey, so the new release is coming. We've talked to our community. We want to order, 10 of the new whatever it is.
Yep.
And they were like, well, you guys are going to get 2.
Yep.
And it was like, how do we get more? Well, you have to have your customers use the web portal in your store.
Yep.
And I was like, but they want to order it through us. And they're like, yeah, they are. And I'm like, but they're not. Like, you're having them basically do a web order. Like, it was really weird. Like,
yeah.
that was a again, I get it. I understand that they were like, how do we fix the inventory problem without just giving managers the ability to order stuff?
Yep.
The big thing now is the U.S. managers, they're not managers anymore. You're basically just a key holder. Like, you can unlock the store, run the till, lock the store. That's it. You don't hire anybody. You don't, like, plan anything. You don't get to make any decisions. Like you said, you don't manage your inventory. That was like my favorite part of my week. That was like the zen part of my week, was like opening up the cabinets.
Yep.
And like remember restocking blisters?
Yeah.
One of my guys would go over to the Warhammer section, and I'd be like 2165, and he'd be like white lines of trace. Nope, we don't need them. I'd be like, okay, 2164. He'd be like, oh, Golfags ogres. Yeah, we need 2 of those. Like,
yep.
That was like such a zen part of my day, like restocking everything.
Yep. No, for sure. For sure. I worked with a guy in the Sydney City store, Jamie Deeks, who was a fiend for that kind of thing. Yep. Loved it.
It's awesome.
Loved it.
it was very, like, relaxing, like being able to, like, I like all my shelves full.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing.
Nice. Excellent. But yeah, so once the product's been out there for a while, they will condense it. That's sort of condensing down to reduce the number of SKUs so that they can replace those SKUs with new products. So I think in maybe about 2 years' time, we'll see the Leviathan will go into a single kit.
Just Leviathan.
Just Leviathan.
Yeah.
The heavy weapons will go into a single kit.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing. There'll be ways
Right
that
on.
they'll do it.
Caitlin said that's what they did with their tanks. They bought a couple and then mixed up the weapons.
Yep. Extra.
Also appropriate kits. Chris says you could use them as Solar Ox.
Yeah, I could probably add some more to my existing Solar Auxilia. I'll probably end up doing that.
Apparently, David has arrived with a whoosh.
Excellent. Hope you brought pizza. I could actually do with some pizza today.
Same, 100%. Who doesn't like pizza?
Reorder day was fun. Created sale conversations. Yeah, certainly did.
I loved it.
A well-stocked store is a happy store.
It makes me feel good.
Yep. No pizza, only packing boxes. Oh,
Boo.
sad panda. Back when I worked in the game store and I stocked the GW metal blisters, if we sold out of a SKU, we would order and get that note that said "Tough Beans, Dave is in Australia," and we would have to deal with it. Awesome. Oh, Rick.
You remember how they used to come, right? Like when you got blisters, they came in a box that was like this.
Yep.
And it was 2 blisters that were stacked so they would fit like a square.
Yep.
And then what we would do is we would write with a Sharpie on the top of the box,
Yep.
the 4-digit short code, so that you could stock them all in your drawer.
Yep.
And I had everything sorted by code. Like, I don't think I could still do it, but like I used to know all the short codes. Like it'd be like, oh, I'm looking for, Eldar. And it was like, oh, Eldar was like 7-2.
Yep.
So all the short codes that started with 7-2 were Eldar. And like, you would have it all organized that way.
Yep. I think it's funny that you said the 2. I remember the 12s.
Okay.
Boxes
What was 12?
No, the boxes of 12 blisters.
Oh, well, yeah, you
Everything
got
came
the
in a
long
box
ones.
with 12 blisters of the
Yeah, you
same
got the
thing.
long ones, but then some of them would come in the small boxes.
Yep.
So we would hoard the small boxes.
All right.
And then we would put everything in the box and put them away,
And break them down. Yep.
so you could read everything.
Nice. Excellent. Sorry, Rick is in here. Tabletop test drive. What even is this?
I feel like Rick wanders on here, not really sure. Like, Rick, this is our OnlyFans. Just
Yes.
stick $1 in your disk drive.
Yep. If you're here a little bit earlier, you would have seen what I was building. But
Yeah,
we've got
dude,
some more
that
talk
demon-
about
that
building.
demon
It's
is
coming up.
awesome. That demon is great.
Oh, and Dave Hummel says, I really loved Reorder Day at the LA Bunker because we did Forge World as well. Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah, we had Forge World at the Boston Bunker, but that was back when Forge World made like 9 things. Like, I mean, it was not hard to stock Forge World because it was like, yep, I got them all.
Excellent.
It was like the giant mangler squig, got it. They made like the squigoth.
Yep.
Remember the giant squigoth with the
yeah.
fortress on its back? They made they didn't make a ton, but I loved it. At the bunker, we stocked Black Library. We had the whole We still stock it at my store now,
Yep.
but when I was at GW, we always had Black Library. I loved that.
Yeah. No, definitely good. Definitely good. But so Rick wants to know more about what we're building, painting, and playing with.
Any sort of miniature, really.
I think it might be time for us to jump into the. It's probably well past time for us to jump into conversation about. Following up from last week. So last week when we were talking with Simon Berman, we talked about the different ways that we go about starting new projects. Well, we talked a little bit about it. We touched on it really. And
It started because we were talking about painting a model.
Yep.
And somebody asked, what order did you paint it in? So we started talking about order of operations, and then that got you thinking about like sort of the bigger connotation.
The bigger
of that.
connotations of order of operations. Yeah, for me, it wasn't step by step on the model. It was what is the order of operations for collecting, for the building your models, for painting them. What order do you do it in? How do you approach it? Do you just go, that model looks cool, and you start painting it, and then you go, I guess I'll create an army around it, or
Right.
how does that work for each of us?
So how do you do it? What is your typical like modus operandi when you're starting a new project or a new army?
I think I generally there'll be something that I'll see, something that I'll read, something that I'll hear that'll spark the inspiration for a project. So I mentioned that.
Like your Votan. How did you?
Well, Votan models were released and they were super cool. So that was just like, they were a little bit different because it was like, oh, these look excellent. And it's like, I kind of like that, the Great Arthurian League color scheme, but I'm not 100% sure on it. And then I was out walking one day and I walked past a Toyota CHR that had the like jade green metallic paint job on the body, but it was a bright white on the roof.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, I like that color scheme. That looks great on that car. Can I translate that to the Votan models?
Okay.
And so I knew I was doing the Votan, so I had the Votan army box, and I put together the first squad. What am I looking at?
Chris.
Oh, we created a Gantt chart. This project, nice. But yeah, so there was like I had the models. I built the basic squad first, the Hearthkin Warriors, and painted those up to the point where I was like, okay, I'm happy with how this model looks. And I wouldn't really call it a test model, in that I didn't do a series of test models.
Sure.
It was like, here I had the
It's a proof of concept.
proof of
model.
concept. Yeah, it was definitely more of a proof of concept kind of thing. And at the same time as well, I was messing around with a lot of Pro Acryl paints, so I was able to try some on there, and was like, okay, I'm happy with that. Let's go on to the next stage and finish up this squad. How does this squad look? Looks great. Now I'll build the rest of the models and work my way through painting them. Because
do you build your whole army first and then paint it, or do you build a unit, paint a unit, build a unit, paint a unit, build a unit, paint a unit?
I don't. I think I always have. I don't build the entire army or the entire project out before I start painting.
You do like 500 points, build and paint it.
I don't have anything. I don't have a specific level that I build to.
Okay.
I think if I had a specific thing that I needed to do for airbrushing, so I needed to airbrush them all a particular color at a particular time, I would build the entire thing first, and then do all the airbrushing at the same time. So there was consistency there. But like the next army that I'm working on for Horus Heresy, that's got the Leviathan in it, and the reworked Tartarus Terminators.
So nice.
With lightning claws. As I said, these are going to be Raven Guard Terminators, but it's my Alpha Legion pretending to be the Shattered Legion's forces. So this guy's going to be an Iron Hands Leviathan and Raven Guard Terminators. I've got Raven Guard Tactical Squad already done up, and a Raven Guard Tactical Support Squad with rotor cannons.
Are you going to mix in some salamanders?
Well, that was the original
Or
plan.
do you want them to be all black?
No, I was going to have a lot of black, and then I was going to have the salamanders as well. I hadn't quite worked out how I was going to do because on the black armor, I'm going to do like chipping with teal, so the paint is rubbing off and showing the Alpha Legion colors underneath.
Yeah,
that was the whole plan there. So it would be using an Alpha Legion list. And I was gonna have some salamanders in there, like a tactical squad of salamanders, and a tactical support squad with flamers and that kind of thing. Fairly basic sort of stuff. Probably going to use like Mark III for them. But then, as I'm building through this, and I haven't settled on everything along the way, I do research as well. And I was watching Blackbriar Gaming, I think, is the YouTube channel. And this guy went through each of the legions, talking about how you can build them, and talking about the rights of war and that kind of thing. And
right.
Something that I hadn't, and the warlord traits, and something I hadn't realized for the Alpha Legion, there's a warlord trait called the Mobius configuration.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So it's a loyalist thing. So you have a loyalist. It has to be basically it's a loyalist Alpha Legion detachment, but you can have an allied detachment of any other legion.
Yep.
It doesn't matter which legion they are. They count as like the best sort of companions.
Oh, dude, the Alpha Legion rules are insane.
But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my salamanders as that allied detachment. So the salamanders think that the Iron Hands and the Raven Guard are Iron Hands and Raven Guard, but they'll actually be Alpha Legion. So if this is all sounding a little bit complex, I am doing my job right. Because Alpha Legion are overly complex, for sure.
It's the best. I think it's awesome. See, like, so my next project is I have a bunch of pieces, and I'm doing an all Phobos army.
Right.
And I'm gonna wait until 10th edition to do it, but I have a bunch of pieces that I've been kind of stockpiling.
Yep.
And I'm gonna do the all Phobos armor.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna run them as Raven Guard.
Okay.
But they're all Alpha Legion. So
Okay.
I'm painting them as Alpha Legion. They will look like Alpha Legion, but I'm using the Raven Guard Codex.
Oh, okay, radio.
Because I'm not running them as Chaos Space Marines.
Right. Yep.
And the rules are very similar. Like the big rule is like the Raven Guard have the thing where like you can't target them and shoot them if they're X amount of inches away.
Right. Yep.
And then the Alpha Legion have like sort of the backwards version of that rule, which is like if you are more than X inches away, you can't see them.
Right.
So you can't shoot at them anyways. Like, so I was like, that'll be cool. But yeah, in the Heresy, I think the rules are super cool. The way I took it was that the Mobius configuration is those are Alpha Legionnaires that have infiltrated that unit and have like gotten trained how to do that job. And then they're like, we're just going to bring this back to the Legion with us. Like, so it's, there's 5 Phoenician, Terminators. And it's like, and they're like, it's us. And then they put their masks back on.
Oh, no, that's not the rule that allows you to take a unit from another, to include a unit from another Legion.
Okay.
The Mobius configuration, so there's that as well. So I'll have like a more Dathan squad from the Raven Guard.
From anything.
But, so this one's just, it's a separate detachment. And those guys, they can't do any reactions. The allied detachment can't do any choose to do any reactions. And they also don't count for any victory points.
Right.
And I think you actually get, but yeah, if all of them are dead at the end of the game, the Alpha Legion player gets an extra victory point for his own models being dead.
I also love that out of every single Legion that's in the Heretic book and the Loyalist book, they're the only Legion that doesn't have any Loyal or Heretic keyword abilities.
Right. Yep.
Including Alpharius. Alpharius is the only Primarch you can run on either side. You can run him as a Loyalist or a Heretic. I was like, that's phenomenal. That's great. Oh, he's the best.
But
he is the best.
Yeah. So that's what I have. I've got that. There's the concept and the inspiration and the idea that, well, it wouldn't be great if they ran them this way.
I like it.
And then I've gone through and I know that I'm having a Raven Guard tactical squad. I knew that I wanted to have a tactical support squad with rotor cannons because they're very heresy. They're not very good in the game, but they're very.
I think they look super cool. I just wish they were better.
Yeah. So I just wanted the Raven Guard to be sort of. So those guys will be in a Rhino. They'll pull up, jump out, hose things down, jump back in, move on. Is kind of their approach. And then the Tartarus Terminators with lightning claws, a very sort of Raven Guard.
You got to run their the best unit they have is the
Dark Fury.
That's the dudes with like the claws, the jump troops. Yeah, those are the best. Those models are the best.
They are good, but yeah. So I'm gonna work all that out, and what I'm gonna do for Iron Hands, and I need to get some Mark III models so I can start building some Iron Hands. And
okay,
I was looking at some of the Forge World units, so I'll probably pick up some of those too. But I have the plan. I have the idea. I know that with the black armored models that I can start painting those pretty much straight away. I know I'm going to paint the, what do you call it? The Raven Guard helmets white. So I've put them on I left them off the thing so I can paint them separately.
It's only the veterans that get white helmets, right?
I'm not sure. Is it?
I think it's only the veterans.
It doesn't really matter.
That's true. It's your army, Dave. You do what you want.
And it's
some other
it's
people
Alpha
jumped
Legion,
on.
so it's bound to be kind of crazy.
So Rick wanted to know what are we building or painting or playing with, and Josh said this is Sparta.
This is Sparta. All right. What even is this?
So then Dave said he's not building much right now. He's just trying not to break models as he packs them.
Good.
And then Rick wanted to know if we're going to be at Adepticon.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, we will definitely be there. And then Chris he talked about his Gantt chart.
Yep.
So for those of you who don't know a Gantt chart, that's when you have all like the bars of like how much you have completed versus like the time that you've used versus where you are in the project.
And what the next piece of the project is.
Yeah. So then
This is kind of like my Gantt chart. This the
pretty much
the setup I've got here.
And then Josh said, I heard they're only going to dentistry conventions from here on out.
Yeah.
David's collecting apparently is it a marine model? Then he buys it.
Right.
Rick said he heard that Adepticon is for massage therapists. Not sure where he got that.
Nope.
Katajun Ken said, first time catching us live, a nice change of pace. Enjoy watching and listening while I work on my army and other project. Well, thanks for being here live. It's always good to get new people on or have people on that we've never had on before.
Yep. During the live.
Josh said that would follow. We heard that corns can be quite uncomfortable. And then Rick apparently, because we weren't like jumping on his jokes, apparently he went to go back to whatever he was doing.
Okay. Good.
Scott said if you want to know more about it, they should pick up your book, Armies, Legions, and Hordes, available at quality booksellers and game stores.
Fantastic. Thank you, Scott. It's always nice when other
David
people
apparently
promote my stuff.
Yeah, seriously. David apparently also has Primaris companies that are on hold.
Yep.
Sean said when he painted up his Lumineth, he figured out a 2,000 point army, assembled it, and primed all the models.
Right. Yep.
David said he's looking for the book, but he packed it. Calling the what Marine chapter do I want to play today option, and then fill in the units. Scott says his is a spot near a couple of the other books Dave produced near my big white chair with a hole in it. Great books for that spot. Bite-sized articles and cool pics.
Yes, I just worked out, of course, as I started laughing what the big white chair with a hole in it was.
And then, Chris Corgan said he's working on his Night Lords with airbrush work.
Yep. Excellent.
I think
Just
it kind of depends.
Just quickly, I'm going to say that sometimes. So Sean says he figures out the 2,000 point army, assembles and primes all the models. I think that works. That works for a lot of people. Sometimes people can get a little bit intimidated by having all of that unfinished, ready to go plastic in front of them.
It depends on the list. If you were doing like custodes, I'd be like, cool, go ahead and build those 17 models. Like you can.
If you're doing your like tank list, sure, go ahead and build those 10 models. Yep.
I usually do a 500 points or 1,000 points because I'm with you. If I build more than that, then it's just overwhelming. I feel like I'm never gonna get caught up.
Right.
But yeah, so I usually. If it's gonna be a big like lots of models list type of army,
Yep.
I would probably only do it in like chunks of 500 or 1,000.
Right.
But even with Space Marines, like when I run my Blood Angels now, like my 2,000 point Blood Angel list is like 36 models.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like I'm not gonna get overwhelmed. But if I was doing something like Witch Elves,
Yep.
I would never paint 2,000 Witch Elves at once. That's
2,000 points of Witch Elves. Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Like that is just, like that'd be overwhelming. It'd be like, oh, there's literally 200 Witch Elves on my desk.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Sean's saying that he paints them all at once. That he goes through and does the same step on all of them, but he has them all ready to go. He might just work on a unit at a time, but yeah. But yeah, I think it's always an interesting one to see how people do it. But we did ask some folks, or we asked everybody in the Facebook group, and we had some responses, and I wrote them down.
All right, what do we got?
Because I'm low tech. So first up, Sean, who we've just been talking about, says he does a couple of models for a squad or a unit to work out the scheme. And once he's got that, the rest just follows. So I assume that, Sean, that you mean that you'd pick, I guess, a basic trooper or something that's most representational of the rest of the force. Start on that, finishing off a squad, and then pick the next models that you like the look of, and then adapt the scheme to those, and then work on, just keep going. There's more models that are all ready to go. They're in the hopper. They just sort of drop down onto the table. So I think that's one way to approach it. My buddy Glenn in Australia, I'm just going to posted this picture.
God, can you imagine if you painted like that? You finished a model, and another model dropped out of the hopper. I'd freak out.
Yeah.
If they just like kept like coming, I'd be like, oh my god.
Well, that's why I have this up here. This is my hopper. I preload it and I just pull them down. But yeah, I never want to see this empty. If this is empty, then I'm doing something wrong. But yeah, my buddy Glenn posted this picture, which is from the from Rogue Trader, from the old Imperial Army.
That's the old John Blanche. That's the old Guard Codex.
Yep. Well, not Codex, but box.
Oh, the book.
Box cover.
Yeah.
So, but Glenn said, step 1 is find inspiration. Step 2 is test models, and step 3 is finish the squad and follow through with a different model so you can adapt the scheme for that. So his new project that he's doing in 2023 is an Imperial Guard army, and this image was the inspiration. I guess I was flicking through some of his old White Dwarves. This was the key.
So good. You gotta love I love the winged F that's on all their shoulders.
The winged what? F?
The winged F.
It's too small on my screen. I can't see it. Never even
So
thought about
good.
it.
It's such a great image.
What does the F stand for? I wonder.
I think that's F Company. It's supposed to be it's the whatever unit this is, the Necromunda in 9th or so. Like it's not the Necromunda in 8th.
Right.
But it's like whatever 9, because they all have the 9. So this is like the 9th.
Okay.
Whatever. And then they've got like the banner, which is 20.
Right.
That's not a real number because that's like 20. I don't know what that's supposed to be. it's XXIIV, which you can't do in Roman numerals. So it's probably supposed to be XXIV,
right,
which would be the 24th.
24th. Yep. But somebody's just mistranscribed it from the Napoleonic banner that it was.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, so I guess that's the, they're the whatever, they're the 24th infantry regiment, and this is like 9th company.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's
F squad,
or it's 9th battalion, and then this is like it's F company.
Right. Yeah.
But it's great. It's awesome.
Yep. But these are some of Glenn's test models that he messed around with. In the end, he said he settled on the blue because he knew he wanted to go for the Mars red. So it's like the Martian iron crust.
Nice.
Technical paint. That's what I used on my Votan. So yeah, that's his approach. So next up is for him is finishing off a squad in that scheme, and then moving on.
Sean said the same. Sean said he paints a unit at a time.
Yep. And then Glenn's going to move on to a Lehman Russ after that.
Okay.
Apply the I think the fatigues. The fatigue color is what the tank color is going to be, and then it'll have markings in blue.
Okay.
But yeah, looking neat there. Next up, another friend from Australia, Justin Whitney, didn't post any photos with it, but he also said step 1 was essentially find inspiration. Just whatever sparks his interest. Whatever sparks joy. He didn't say sparks joy, but I'm going to put that onto Justin for that.
Sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah. And then step 2 is plan. So Justin said basically we'll sit down and work out what he wants to do with that inspiration and how he wants to turn it into something. So that's his second step. And then his third step is gathering resources. So we'll gather together all of the models that he needs, make sure he's got the paints, the tools that he's going to need, all that sort of stuff. And then 4 is just get stuck into the executing the plan. So assembling all the models, preparing them all, and then getting into the painting. Dave Humble says, do not follow my hobby procedure of building. It causes a huge backlog of building painting pain. Causes storage problems and currently moving issues.
See that?
Yep, don't do that. Oh, sorry, Kate said that photo, the image from Rogue Trader was the thing that got her into the guard. Very cool. But next up, Chris Gorka posted a photo of his Abaddon. Do you say Abaddon or Abaddon?
So I originally started saying Abaddon when I got into the hobby, but then all of my British friends say Abaddon.
Right.
And after looking at the way that it's written, it should be Abaddon.
Okay, because it's double D, isn't it? It's 2 D's, 1 B.
Right. Because Abaddon would be Abbadon.
D-O-N, right.
Like ABBA the band, and then Dawn the person you know.
Right.
But it's not. It's ABADDON.
Okay.
So like Badoon, that are in like they're like one of the alien races in Marvel.
Okay.
It's BADDON.
Right.
So it's Abaddon.
Right. Okay. Excellent. There we go.
Just like Armageddon. It's the same.
Excellent. Okay. Chris said he starts with a character model. In this case, he's illustrating that with his Abaddon, which looks fantastic. Which motivates him to paint the troops, because you don't want to be fielding like a sea of grey plastic around a model that's painted like that.
Yeah.
You want to have those troops that support that model. So that's his approach. It's kind of interesting. I think I always find that I'll definitely paint some troops first. Then I might paint a character, and then I'll try and paint the rest of the bulk of the army before then painting up the fun and exciting pieces.
My favorite part of the army is doing like detail.
Okay.
Like doing squad markings and, like kill marks and just like extra details and colors. And I think that there's more of that on more veteran troops.
Right.
So I work my way up. So like I usually try to paint all of my the flesh eaters I showed last week.
Yep.
So I have 2 squads of those, and those are done. And then I have 2 elites choices, so those will be next.
Yep.
And then I think I have a fast attack choice, which is basically just bikes. So I'll do that. And then I'm going to save the lieutenant, the captain, and the probably the vehicles for last, because then I can do all the squad markings and everything on the vehicles.
Okay. Yep. Oh, that's cool. Scott said he just did a commission project, which I said I would never do again. I started with the stuff I wanted to paint the least.
That also works.
Always the way to go, I think. I'm a big fan of that one. So yeah, that's how Chris tackles his. And then Josh Potter gave us a nice simple 3-step approach, which was visualize, realize, actualize. And for me, when I was reading through, I was like, I'm not sure. Realize, for me, realizing something would be making it real. And actualize is also making it actual, which is also real. So perhaps Josh can let us know what he's thinking about the difference between the two is. But he also said he does no test models. He just gets stuck in. So I think when you get to a point where you've painted a lot of models and you've painted a lot of different armies, or you've painted a lot of different characters, whatever it might happen to be, and you've used a lot of different color schemes, and you're comfortable with the colors and the way that you use them, or your set of colors, your palette, you can generally get to a point where you can visualize what a model is going to look like, and you might not need to do a test model.
My sort of safety zone is red.
Okay.
If I'm doing anything that's remotely red, it could be anything as light as a bright orange or anything into like, you know, burgundies and almost purples,
Yep.
anything that's red, I don't need to do a test model. I've painted so many red models over the years. I'm like, cool, I know exactly this 3 steps I'm going to do this
Yep.
this base coat. But
I think
that's my safety area.
yeah. There's and I think a lot of people have those things. For some people it'll be green, some people it'll be blues. But one of the things I've found interesting working on the Votan was that some of the different troop types have a very different approach to their armor.
Yep.
And so the Einherjar Hearthguard and the Einherjar Champion, everything that you see is plated armor. And so my basic guys, all of their armor plates were white. And I looked at all of the GW color schemes because I didn't like the way that the models looked. And looking at all of their schemes, it was the same thing. All of them, the armor plates, were all painted essentially the same color or very close to the same color.
Okay.
Like I think the Great Arthurian League, there were like 2 slightly different shades of green. The orange guys, I think it's the Yamiya conglomerate or something like that.
Yep. Yeah.
Their models were all orange. And I was like, maybe that's why I'm not liking them. I don't want to do all white plates for this. So what can I do? And so I had to use that the champion, which the model I had assembled and primed and ready to go. I was like, okay, I need to change some of these plates to not be white.
Okay.
So there was a tester. That model became a tester for the rest of the unit, the Einherjar Hearthguard unit. So I went through and was like, okay, well, I think I just need to make it darker the lower down it gets. So I ended up painting a lot of the leg plates, like the thigh plates and the shin plates, in grey, a darker grey. So it was like, I have this idea, I think this will work. And I did it, and I was like, does this work? Yes, it does. And then when I applied it to the rest of the unit, I looked at it again and was like, does this work? And I showed it to some of my friends, and they were like, need something else. So I added some green plates here. So I think
the green and white is a really strong paint scheme. It's just a great looking tonality between the two. I always appreciate armies that have that kind of built in. Like, I would never paint them, but I like that if you're painting Dark Angels,
Yep.
You're like, oh, my army's like 3 different colors. And it's like, how is this 3 different colors? It's like, oh, well, they're all green except for the second company, which were black, and the first company, which were bone.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, okay. So you have like 3 different armies? It's like, no, they're all the same. They have a little bit of tie-in. But I like that they have that kind of like shtick to them.
Your accents are always going to be green, red, bone, white, or black.
Yeah,
it's
and red sometimes because they always have the red.
Did I say red?
Symbol.
I didn't say red. I meant to say red.
He said green, white, black, bone,
red. Yeah, you're right. 5 colors in there. But you're just cycling through those for sure. I think it's good. But Scott says, no, God bless the armies that allow variety amongst the troops. My guys, orcs and Nurgle, easiest way to fight boredom, for sure. I think there are lots of other ways that you can do it, but yeah, some armies don't feel like they lend themselves to variation. But yeah, so there are some thoughts. Those are some of the thoughts from the group about how they approach it, and I think a lot of the times for new projects, if you're not sure what you're going to be working on, or you don't have a strong feeling, you need to find that spark. You need to find that inspiration. Look around for it. Otherwise, you just end up pottering around, not doing a lot, not making progress. But once you've found that inspirational spark, you'll find the standard approach that you use.
I think one of the craziest projects I ever started was for my firstborn Blood Angels army. I decided that I didn't want to paint just Blood Angels,
right?
Because they were all Assault Marines. They would all just be red Marines with yellow helmets,
right?
And granted, I was going to run Dante, so I was like, cool, I'll have one guy who's wearing gold, and I had a squad of honor guard with him, so they would have red with gold helmets.
Yep.
I was like, but this whole army is just going to be red guys, and I was like, okay, I need some variety. So I did them as a crusade force,
Right.
and it was before Guy Haley did his the Devastation of Baal,
Right.
and I basically made it as if a bunch of random Marines had been kind of come together in a war zone,
Yep.
and they were all successors to the Blood Angels. So I knew that a bunch of them fought on Armageddon.
Yep.
During the last war for Armageddon, so I went through the list and I made a whole bunch of them, and that was really fun because I basically was like, okay, I'll have 2 Flesh Eaters, I'll have 2 Flesh Terrors,
Right.
I'll paint the Lamenter, I'll have a Knight of Blood, I'll have Angel's Vermilion, an Angel and Carmen, an Angel Sanguine. And they were cool because like I got to do all the different ones, like the Angels and Carmen, I think are the ones that are half black,
Right.
and then the other half is the red armor. And it was fun, but even when I was done, I was like, there's a lot of red in here. Like the only guys that weren't really red were like the Lamenters.
Right. Yep.
Like all the rest of them were basically some form of red Marine.
And then
I was like, oh, I have these 2 like random yellow dudes. Like they're cool.
That's cool. That's cool. I think that ties in with something that Harry's just said here. Hey, Harry. Good to see you. I like to have a story to tell about my projects, and I find the painting informs the story as the project progresses.
I agree. I have to have a whole background.
Yep. Absolutely the way to go. Just as clarified, he says, realize maybe I should have been mobilize, but make it real, as in you're actually going to do this. There is no question. And then actualize is sitting down and getting it actually into existence. But yeah, cool. Thanks for that, Josh, for that clarification. And Jason says, Jason Dyer, hey Doc, we'll see you in a couple of months at Adepticon. Custodians can be terminally boring if all gold. Enjoy the concept of shield hosts allows you to not only paint pure gold, but to legitimately mix color schemes and keep it fluffy. Yep. The advantage, of course, though, if even if you do paint your army entirely gold, is that, as Jake said before, it's only 17 models.
Yeah, seriously. Like,
but yeah, no, definitely. I think working that idea through other armies, other forces. I think I mentioned this at some point last year and talked about the British Army I did for the Napoleonic era. There was the potential to paint battalions upon battalions of redcoats.
right.
But the riflemen are green, the artillery is blue, the cavalry, most of that's blue uniforms. If you throw in some Portuguese caçadores, they're in brown uniforms. You got a lot of variety that you can can bring into armies. Same with the French. There's lots of different ways to, pardon me, do it with the French and Napoleonics. So I think it's just bringing those ideas through.
I like your idea of doing the Shattered Legions. I think that's a really cool way to do it. Or like you can do the Gray Shields.
Right. Yep.
Like I like the idea of being like, oh yeah, we have like this hodgepodge of
This crazy
troops that are together, and like it allows you as a painter to kind of like do some different stuff and mix in some cool things. And I think I always like that. I think that's a really fun way to do it. A friend of mine was talking about after reading the new trilogy with Gilliman in it. So right at like kind of the apex of the Great Crusade or the Indominus Crusade,
right.
He takes all of the unnumbered sons,
okay,
which are basically just a legion, and he like assigns them all.
Okay.
And the idea of the unnumbered sons is they're Primaris Marines that have been made by call, and they've been alive for 10,000 years ish, but most of it they're in
stasis,
hibernation.
Yep.
Yeah, suspended animation. So they show a bunch of them, and like they know where their gene seed is from.
Yep.
Like the Space Wolves know that they're Space Wolves, and the Dark Angels know that they're Dark Angels. So they paint all their armor the right color it should be, but then they have a gray bar through where the Legion symbol would be.
Okay.
And then they're just in mixed squads.
Okay. Interesting.
So they're truly a mixed army. I was like, that's kind of cool. That's a neat way to do an army.
Yeah.
So
I think there's lots of fun stuff you can do with that.
that's why Bretonians were always so great.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if you're doing it right, none of your models should look the same in a Bretonian.
Yep, that can be tough to get some production lining going on that kind of thing, though. But
That's true.
no, lots of different ways to do it. But no, good. I think it's been cool seeing some different orders of operation, I guess, for working on projects. Harry says, "Hail Bretonia!"
Absolutely.
Definitely cool. So just quickly, we have some other models that folks have been posting in the group, so I thought we'd have a quick look at those. So I'll run through these quickly. We'll try and wrap up by about 8:30. But first up, so if you haven't seen these in the group, the Build Paint Play group, down in the notes below, there's a link to the Facebook group. It is set up as a private group, but you can click on that and request to join the group, and somebody will let you in. Be nice when you're in there, and make sure you join in and post some cool photos. So the first ones we got here coming up are from Jeff Smith. So I think Jeff posted some photos from a commission last week. This is another commission he's doing for Fallout Wasteland Warfare. So these are some of the...
They're gross. They look great.
Yeah. They're like ghoul settlers. I think I'm not up with the old Wasteland Warfare, but they definitely look A, great, and B, gross for sure.
Yeah.
So he has this one. There's this cool one as well. I really love this model because it's got the that Vault Tech lunchbox. Yeah, which is super cool. But yeah, these look really nice. So I think he's got about 4 or 5 more. So you can go and check out the post in the group.
Jeans look great. Those look like real jeans.
Yeah, yep. I'm a big fan of that. I was going to say Thunderhawk Blue is my favorite.
Wildly underused color.
Yeah, is my favorite color for denim. It's super nice. But yeah, they look awesome, Jeff. Nice work. Next up, we've got a couple of photos from Josh. Talk about Bretonians and collection of knights looking different. But
excellent.
These, I think, he said were sculpted by Tom Meyer. From the I can never remember it. Josh, you'll have to let us know. Yep. These are looking very cool. There's a lovely one with this blue looks great, and that white is popping out from it beautifully.
Is that the Barons War or whatever?
No, these are older models. I think they might be part of the Ralpartha Legacy line that Josh has been painting up quite a bit of recently. When I say recently, I mean over the last couple of years. But here's another one. This guy looks great in his great helm there.
I had so many Ralpartha models back in the day.
Yep.
Nice.
And looking really good there, Josh. Very nice. Jump in quickly. There we go. Thunderbolt Mountain miniatures. I can never remember Thunderbolt Mountain. There we go. Thunderbolt Mountain miniatures produced by Ralpartha Legacy.
Nice.
Looking good. Nice work there, Josh. Next up, we've got one of the Ogroid Therodons. Pardon?
I like the red warthog.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely look cool. But yeah, this is one of the Ogroid Therodons, I think, from the Slaves to Darkness army box. Well, they're coming out this coming weekend.
Yeah, they come out Saturday. They look great. The Therodons are such cool models.
They are.
I was kind of hoping that they're going to let you make a list that's all Ogroids.
Yeah.
Because there's the 3 that come in this that's a unit.
Yep.
And then you can run the Ogroid Myrmidon. And then there's the Ogroid Thaumaturge.
Yep.
But apparently he has the the Zinch keyword, so you can't run him
Oh,
with
with these.
the corn stuff
Oh, okay.
because they all have the corn keyword.
Okay. But yeah, this model looks great. This is Mike Hughes painted this, and the thing he was really focusing on for this was painting up the glowing axe, the just out of the forge axe head.
Yeah, it looks awesome. And he's got like the great light effect on the reflected on like the vambrance and like underneath and on the horns and stuff.
Yeah, that nice underglow. Underglows always look awesome.
Like I would use these in a Beastman army as Minotaurs. I think these look so much better than the Minotaur models.
Right, they do. Absolutely.
They're stupid toes.
Yep. I think I have 3 of those Minotaur models floating around. I painted them up the week. I got them the week that they were released, and painted them up for a competition at my local store.
Their feet are the worst.
Sadly, I was the only person who entered,
So you won.
I automatically won, and got
Nice.
the Minotaur Lord as the prize. But yeah, Scott says I saw this mini. He was trying to get the axe to look like glowing metal. Nailed it. Absolutely.
It's really cool.
And then we did mention it before. Scott's piece from the Marvel United set.
Is it Havoc?
Yep. So Scott did say earlier in the chat, I didn't mention it then, but he also said when he posted this that the plastic for these guys was a lot harder and sturdier than other board gaming miniatures that he's seen or messed around with. So removing the mold lines would be pretty straightforward for it.
Yeah, they've really stepped up. It used to just be like the really bendy PVC plastic, and they've like it's still PVC plastic, but they've stiffened it up. I think they've just added more
More V.
more filler to it, so it's it is definitely harder. It's a really the models are great though. They really are packed with detail.
Yep. But no, I think Scott's done a great job of painting this guy. Absolutely
Havoc is
awesome.
Cyclops' kid brother.
Yeah, is that who it is?
That's Alex Summers. That's Scott Summers, who is Cyclops. That's his kid brother.
Okay. Was he in? Oh no, he wasn't in. Hold on. Who was the? I'm thinking the mutant. Yeah, who was the mutant in First Class? I think
That's Havoc.
that's Havoc. Okay.
He's the one who has the discs go around him, the
Yeah.
rings. Yeah, that's
Right, okay.
That was a really weird take on how Havoc's power works, but yeah, that's Havoc.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to go and read any of the comic books, so for me,
No,
that's,
that
for me,
you're
that's
right.
how Havoc works.
The kid that's in the movie, that's Havoc.
Right. Cool. But yeah, Scott says the Marvel United stuff is great for real relaxed painting, but I can challenge myself to do stuff if I need to practice on eyes and without much pressure. Yeah, that's very cool.
We have all of it at the store. Like we have every single. So there's the regular Marvel United starter, which has the Avengers,
Right.
and then there's the X-Men Marvel United starter, which has the X-Men, and then there's like 3 expansions for that one, and there's 4 expansions for the other one. We have like it's like 9 boxes. We have like all of it in stock. It's insane.
Crazy. Speaking about skew bloat.
But the models are great. Like
No,
it's
they
like
are.
if you're like I really want to have this guy,
Yep.
he's in one of the boxes. Like
Right. No, he's bound to be there. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They look great. But no, awesome job, Scott. I'm glad you're enjoying messing around with those, and yeah, it's nice to have those models that you can do that practicing on. Definitely very cool.
too.
What's that?
It's a good game too.
Yep. Dope. Excellent. So we are almost at the end of the show. Almost, not quite. But what I was going to say is this coming weekend, I'm going to be flying to Peoria, Illinois, along with about a dozen other folks. We'll be hanging out with Hank Edley, who's one of the organizers of Adepticon.
Yep.
And we'll be doing Spray Team 2 for Adepticon 2023. Spray Team 1 was held back at the beginning of December. last year, or early December. So we're going to be painting a whole bunch of Marvel Crisis Protocol terrain.
Right
and Star Wars Legion terrain.
Okay.
Hank has had his print farm going hell for leather for the last month and a half. So I think we're going to be painting lots of Ewok villages, Tatooine habitats, and I'm not sure what we're painting for Marvel Crisis Protocol, but no doubt there'll be a lot of it. But it should be super
City
cool.
and buildings.
What's that?
City and buildings.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm gonna be arriving. So I'll be painting from Friday afternoon until Monday morning when I fly back out. Really looking forward to it. It's gonna be crazy exciting. But I'll take a bunch of photos and post them in the group. And next Tuesday, we are going to have Hank on as a special guest.
Nice.
Which would be super cool. So we're going to talk about Adepticon, different things that are going on at Adepticon. So if you can get some updates on stuff like Golden Demon or other things that GW might be doing there. Find out some other bits and pieces going on. I think, so we might be able to get Hank to give us a full rundown on the list of all the companies that are running painting competitions there.
Okay, right.
All that kind of stuff. So it'll be definitely be very cool to have a chat with Hank about that. And I think, just looking at my notes, I haven't spoken to Owen yet. Owen Best from Nova, from the Nova Open. Hopefully we can talk to him 2 weeks after that about Nova, because I think their tickets will be going on sale fairly shortly.
Okay.
But
Right on. I like it.
super cool.
Oh, God.
Look at you stretching. Stretch! But yeah, so keep an eye out on the Facebook group for photos of lots and lots and lots and lots of terrain that'll be used at Adepticon this year. And then next week, be ready for Hank. In the meantime, don't forget to join the group and post your photos. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, all that sort of fun stuff. Leave a comment, not just in the chat, but in the comment afterwards. What we should start doing pretty soon, I think, is maybe doing some competitions.
Okay, we can do that.
Where people have to put their comments in the chat below. But we'll work out some things.
Right on.
Yep, we'll start doing that.
And don't forget to tell your friends, guys. We guys and girls. We want to grow the stream whenever we can, and so it'll be a payoff for having special guests on like Hank, and he'll be like, "Why would I want to come on your tiny little podcast?" And,
No, it's not tiny. Not tiny.
no, I know. But,
it's not an Adepticon size, sure, but we'll get there.
That's true. Not yet. But yeah, everybody keep working on stuff. Hopefully next week I'll have more stuff to share. I'm gonna try to knock out another tank and a half.
Cool.
I mean, if I'm able to get the other two in with this week, I'll build 2 more. But otherwise,
take some photos of them. Send them through to me.
I'll send you what I've got so far.
I'll grab them. Pretty good. Excellent. Dave says he'll be on the road, but he'll try to phone stream. All good. But no, looking forward to it. Thank you very much, everybody. And I think it's time for us to say, whatever you're doing, don't forget to
build, paint, play.
Shut up and sit down. sit down.